This is Lindsay. Welcome back to Nevermore Creations. If you're new here, please subscribe. I try to do a new video most days, and today is my first ever Technique Tuesday. On Tuesdays, I'm going to try to upload videos that teach some kind of a technique that is great for paper crafting and junk journals, whether you do memory keeping, you're making junk journals, you're decorating junk journals you've bought from somebody else, you're making flip books, things for Happy Mail, swaps, whatever. So today we are going to talk about texture paste stenciling on tags. And these, this is a tag punch. I just punched this out. And then these ones I just cut from some scraps in my scrap bin. We have one that's a double-sided paper and the other two are just white on the back. They're all different sizes. And we are going to use a store-bought stencil. I think this is a Studio Calico one. I don't have the packaging anymore, so I'm not sure. And then we're also going to, if you don't have a stencil and you don't want to buy one, I'm going to show you how to make a super simple one if you have a heavy cardstock and any kind of a paper punch. So for texture paste, I have this Deco Frenzy decorating mousse in yellow. I had a bunch of these in a Michael's grab bag, and it works just like texture paste. And then I'm going to be sticking it on this clear acetate sheet that just came off of like a stamp or sticker packaging. That makes it super simple. And then I'm going to show you how, if you just add a little bit of acrylic paint to whatever color texture paste you have, you can get the actual color that you want. So let's get right into it. Here's some texture paste right there. And this yellow is just way too spring colored for me. And since we're kind of in the fall and I do a lot of vintage stuff, I'm just going to add some of this burnt sienna. It's kind of a reddish brown. And then I am just going to take pen here. There we go. Or the back of my awl. It's plastic, so it'll wipe off. And I will just mix it up. And now we have a nice vintage brown color instead of that bright yellow. Now that bright yellow would be great in like a garden journal, something in the spring, Easter time. But that's not really what I'm working on right now. So there's our texture paste, and I'll just wipe that off later. Okay, I'm just using this little silicone spatula kitchen utensil and my stencil. So let's start with this one, and I'm just going to put my stencil on just on the side here a little bit, and let me grab something to stick under it. Okay, well, we can work on this, no problem. All right, so I'm just going to grab some of the texture paste and I'm going to rub it on. Now, see, I'm going really messy here over the edges, and I don't mind that because it's going to add a really junky look, but we'll do a little more clean cut to you if you're not going for the super messy look. Okay. Once you've rubbed it all on, you can pull it off. And then I have this really messy raised look here on my tag, and then that will dry with a really nice texture. So we have that one. And now we're going to move on to the next one. And we're going to do this one a little bit neater. I'm just going to do it right here in the corner. Same color. And I'm just going to go really slow, and I'm going to take my time, and I'm just going to get it on the stencil. You could probably use washi or masking tape or something like that to make sure you didn't get it anywhere else, but if you are careful and slow enough, you won't have to worry about that. So this is going to be a little more of a precise look and not quite as messy and junky as the first one we did. And then I'm just going to pull that up. There we go. And then once that dries, we have a nice little texture pattern there on the bottom of that tag. Now, if you don't have a store-bought stencil, or you don't have a selection, enough of a selection that you actually like, let me set down a piece of scrap paper here since we were making a mess. you can take a really heavy piece of cardstock and a paper punch. And then all I'm going to do is punch out 3 birds like they're flying. And that's going to be our stencil. And then I'm going to do that. See if you can get it in frame here. I'm going to do that here near the top of this tag. And we're about out of texture paste. So I'm going to add a little bit. Let's just keep it with the yellow on this one. We don't have to mix the color since we already know about that. And this could be a bright, cheery. Maybe we'll mix it a little bit. Make a lighter brown, right? There's no rules when it comes to this, guys. No rules. Okay. Scrape up our texture paste onto the spatula. And then just, it's kind of like you're frosting a cake. Rub it right over. Once you've done that, pick it up. And there we go. We have 3 birds and we just made our own stencil. How awesome is that? I love that. I actually like our homemade one better than the other one. And then you can go ahead, take your hole punch, punch a hole. You got yourself a tag. And if you want these to dry faster, you can just grab your heat gun and just dry them up a little bit if you are on any kind of a tight time schedule. So I hope that was a great technique and a useful technique for you guys. And I really have not tried any other texture paste besides this, and I'm not even sure this is actually a texture paste. It just works like one. So when I try another type, I will let you know. And I also want to try to make some homemade texture paste. And when I do that, I will do the recipe in a video with you at some point. So I hope that gave you guys some ideas, and I love how our tags came out.